Hey, I'm Reinhard Kate, and welcome to episode 4 of the Ripple Drop. This week, Cory talks the Q2 XRP Markets Report, Marcos Fernandez gives an update on the new partners xRapid's added, and last but not least, Welly Sculley is talking about trends he's seen in the last year on RippleNet. Hey, I'm sitting here with Ripple's Chief Market Strategist, Cory Johnson. Thank you for joining us.
Correct.
And let's talk about what just released earlier in July, the Q2 Markets Report.
Yeah.
You're one of the authors on it. What did you see as like the most significant finding from that report?
Well, I think the biggest takeaway is the headline. Ripple sold $74 million worth of XRP during the quarter, which, as you pointed out, is not a lot, given that the asset traded about $500 million every day. So the fact that we sold $75 million over the course of 91 days sort of shows exactly how active we were in the market, which is to say, we're there, but in a very small way. I think the most interesting thing in that market over the course of the second quarter was the second quarter showed us the lowest volatility in the trade of XRP that we have seen in years and years. A lack of volatility defined the market in the second quarter.
So you said there's been low volatility overall, but I've seen some people in the space discuss that that's because the price is so low or the prices have been stagnant or dropped. If the entire market and the prices were to go up, would that volatility increase?
I think there's less speculation in the market, and the 9%, called 9% decline in the quarter of the price of XRP, and Bitcoin fell a similar amount during the quarter, shows I think there's less speculation in the market, and that certainly led to less volatility.
Does less speculation make it easier for financial institutions that would use like xRapid to transfer money?
I don't think it matters one bit, because currently the technology says, if I want to trade dollars for pesos, I'm long Mexican pesos for 3 to 5 days. Whereas using our xRapid product, you're long XRP, yes, dollars, XRP to peso, you're long XRP, but you're only long for a minute, maybe seconds. So the exposure to volatility, while the overall volatility might be great if you're talking about 5 days, you're only in the thing for less than a minute, so the actual volatility exposure is de minimis.
That makes sense. One last thing, Brad Garlinghouse AMA is coming up. You're going to be asking him the tough questions. Do you know what you're going to talk to him about?
I have absolutely no idea. It will be spontaneous, it'll be in the moment, and I'll be listening for the questions that people send in. So please send us your questions so we can ask Brad anything. We should call it an ABA, not an AMA.
Ask Brad anything, or ask Cory to ask Brad anything. ACBA?
That gets to be a mess.
Oh, it's a disaster.
That starts to be the structure of a song.
Send him questions. Send us questions.
Take it to the bridge.
Hey, I'm here with Marcos Fernandez, who leads infrastructure partnerships for xRapid. We're going to talk big news we had late last week. 3 exchanges are contributing to the xRapid ecosystem. Why is that significant?
Yeah, it's a big deal for the xRapid ecosystem. So xRapid relies on these liquidity pools, which are provided by these digital asset exchanges, both on the originating and the destination side. So to have 3 really strong, credible partners is huge for xRapid, and really very much so for our growth into production and out of the pilots that we've been having so far.
So CoinsPH in the Philippines, Bitso in Mexico, and Bittrex in the United States. We're looking at both Mexico and the Philippines, historically like major receivers of inward remittances. How is that important for the people on the ground there?
Yeah, it's massive, and you're absolutely right. So the Philippines averages about $31 billion worth of inbound remittances. Mexico is about $28 billion, and those numbers continue to grow over time. So it's really a trend that we see growing. The 2 biggest sending corridors are the United States. So the fact that we have a really strong originating party in the US is huge for xRapid.
I know World Bank data roughly is around 5% for a fee for remittance payment. So $200 remittance payment on average, we're looking at like a $10 savings. That doesn't seem that significant.
It seems really small on that small scale, but when you take into account the macro aspects, just how much money is flowing between those corridors, you're talking several $billion of money going towards these fees. And even more so, you pay a lot to get cash out at the end. So Philippines and Mexico are largely unbanked populations. So to get it to that end destination or to their families, you're talking an additional fee just to get it there. So at the end of the day, it seems small at that really micro level, but at a macro level, we're talking a lot of potential savings.
So what's your hope now with deployments within both these countries of xRapid?
Yeah, really the goal is to lay out this technology with some of our early partners and to scale that, right, so that we can see meaningful difference. I think a lot of people confuse that we're trying to just help financial institutions and help them save money, when at the end of the day, these technologies will be adopted by these end consumers, the people who are trying to send money back to their families. It won't happen overnight, but it'll take time, and as we scale, we'll start seeing those cost savings and that speed, the transparency translated back to that consumer experience. And back to your number around $10, like the average meal is $3 to $4. So if we're helping someone send their family an additional 3 to 4 meals a month, I mean, that makes a world of difference to them and to their loved ones. So we're really excited to have credible partners. It's a big step forward as we move into production, and yeah, excited to roll out xRapid globally.
This sounds incredible. It sounds like the impacts could have seriously lasting effects in these countries. So thank you, Marcos.
Yeah,
thank you for sharing the info.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm here with Welly Sculley, one of the original OGs at Ripple. He's Director of Business Development. You've been here, what, 5 years?
Almost 5 years, yeah.
And there's a lot we can learn from you. So what kind of changes have you seen in the last year in particular for RippleNet, and specifically for its customers?
So I think the biggest change is that we've seen an increasing proportion of non-bank payments companies joining the network. I think that's super cool, given that a lot of these non-banks are coming into the market to provide very specialized payment services to compete with banks who are really having a problem to catch up. So I think it's cool to see these non-banks come into our network to provide this, let's say, network of networks of specialized payment capabilities, so that Ripple can provide this to any sort of customer, banks, non-banks.
Interesting. So what does that mean for the future for these non-bank payment providers that are coming in and adding to this network?
So I think a trend that I've been seeing, let me take what I've seen over the last few months and try and push it into the future. Something that seems to be a clear trend over the last few months is these new financial services providers, these fintechs, especially digital banks. I'm thinking about companies like WireX, like Revolut, that traditionally have provided their customers with new capabilities like multi-currency accounts, and are now starting to include the capability to support digital assets and cryptocurrencies. So let's say that I'm a customer in London who wants to travel around Europe. I want to be able to hold and spend those different currencies. So in addition to British pounds, I'm also holding euros, Swedish kroner, Swiss francs. What these companies are allowing people to do is also hold digital assets, to hold Bitcoin, XRP, Ethereum, with the expectation, I think, what's going to come in the future is that more and more of these digital banks, and I think you can even say banks, are going to offer the similar capability. Beyond just a multi-currency account, the ability to hold and potentially spend, send digital assets in addition to fiat currencies. So I think that's super exciting. I think a very different world from where things were about a year ago when this would have been thought of.
Yeah, that sounds incredible. And the amount of money that you could save on fees if you have a multi-currency account, it sounds incredible for travel.
Totally, totally. So I think exactly the types of problems that these accounts solve for today. I think the idea of extending that to these new types of currencies, these new types of assets is super interesting, really compelling for the consumer.
It's exciting. Well, thank you so much, Welly.
Thanks, Reinhard.
And that's the Ripple Drop.